Very proud of our kids. It was a tough, hard-nosed game. I thought it was a game that against a good Cincinnati football team where we had to kind of make different plays in different areas, whether it was a block punt or recovering a kickoff, having the ability to run the football, stop the run. I thought all phases of our team played well at times and well enough for us to win. As we move forward, we're excited to go play a Connecticut team on the road on Friday night. We expect an absolute war, like every other game has been against them. A tremendous respect for them and their players and their defense, and really a defense that's been a hard matchup for us over the years. So we're excited to have a chance to go play a game before we hit the bye week and play against a great team like UConn is good, is fun for us. So.
Take questions for Coach Matt Rhule, please. *1 on your telephone keypad will put you in the queue, and then the operator will introduce you.
Our first question comes from Mark Narducci with the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Hello, Matt. Could you give us an update on Artrell Foster, please?
Yeah, I don't have an update yet. He's going to the doctor this afternoon.
Okay. And the other thing, could you talk about just the big lift that Avery Ellis has given the special teams with these block punts the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think it's awesome because, Avery's one of the most unselfish players I've ever been around. He's doing a thankless job when he's running into that way. Fitch, can you hear me, Mark? There's a bunch of noise. Hello?
You guys hear Coach Rhule? There's a lot of noise on this line.
I know there was a couple games.
Chuck?
Yes, we're still here, Coach. Can you hear us?
Yeah, there's just a bunch of noise on the thing. I couldn't tell if you could hear me.
Okay. We'll ask the operator to see if she can look into that and find where the source of that is coming from. You can take the next question and come back to Mark.
Our next question comes from Matt Shonvisky with This Is UConn Country.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned defensively UConn has given you some trouble in the past. What specifically can you point to that stands out on film and specifically in your previous experiences against the Huskies defense on what makes them so successful against you guys?
Well, I think they're number 2 in the conference in rush defense, and they have a philosophy of taking away the run, and obviously we're a rushing team, so that we prefer playing other teams that aren't as committed to stopping the run. But I think it's both schematically with the 3-4, and I think Coach has a tremendous system in place that has answers, and then at the same time I think it's their players, whether it's Fadukazi or Myers or they're Junior Joseph or Terrazola. I mean, they've just got really big, strong, stout, physical run defenders. They have safeties that'll come down in the box, and so they pride themselves on taking away the run, and against us they've done a good job of it over the years.
All right, thank you.
Our next question comes from Sean Pastor with Owls Daily.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Sean?
I'm doing pretty good. So I was curious, when the defensive staff kind of sat down and said that with the cheetah package, when you put that together and said, let's throw these 4 ends on the field and give it a shot.
We did a little bit last year. We did it, really for a good portion of this year. I can't remember the exact, when we started doing it with Ramon, maybe the last 4 or 5 weeks, But, it's kind of, guys have always kind of competed to get into the cheetah package, so there have been some D tackles that have been on it at times. But really it's just, 4 rushers, and that's something we've had in the package in the past. But these 4 guys now have been doing a really nice job. And it's allowed us, to slide into a 3-man front and spy the quarterback as well as have all 4 guys rush.
Was there anything in particular that just sort of led you to say, okay, we have our sort of nickel and dime fronts, but let's just take it an extra step?
I just think Phil and Elijah, they've always wanted to try to get the best rushers on the field, and Jacob Martin's always been a really good inside pass rusher, and Finch used to be on it before he got hurt. So I just think it's a mentality of getting guys on the field, and we try to play a lot of guys on defense, so that's a certain role for some of those guys.
Okay. One other sort of almost like a philosophical or teaching question on defense. It seems like every week you're playing offenses now more often than not where you hear so much focus on we got to tackle in space. And it seems it's a little less often when you're playing like a team like yourself or like UConn or like an option type team where I guess the focus got to be more on not space, but teaching guys how to handle traffic. And how hard is that? Is that something that's even, less, I don't know, harder to get the kids to learn, figure out correctly as they face those kind of teams?
You're saying versus the teams where there's a lot of traffic and all that, you're saying?
Well, I'm saying there's so much. It seems like every week it's, hey, we got to tackle in space. We got to get the screens out here. We got to, they're isolating this and that. When you run up against a team like you guys sometimes go power, or UConn is a team that's more noted for running, or a Navy or an Army, where there's going to be a lot of not just the physicality, but just the traffic and teaching guys defensively how to deal with traffic to get to the ball carrier. Is that harder than it was before?
Yeah, it's difficult. Really, at the end of the day, what kids see every day in practice, in the spring and the fall is usually what they're pretty good at. So when you face the spread teams, as you said, there's a lot of tackling and traffic. There's bubble screens. There's all those perimeter plays, and so a defense kind of gets accustomed to stopping that. When you face teams like us that get in bunch and tight sets and power football, you have to get really accustomed to, just defending a gap because, with our formations, we try to create a lot of gaps and create some confusion. And guys then have to, instead of, run to the ball unimpeded, now they have to get off blocks and try to make a tackle. So while it's, as you said, while it's hard to tackle a guy in space, it's also hard to get off a block and make a tackle. And then really the third one is the triple option where you have the traffic and you have the ball getting to the perimeter where you now have to defend the ball in space with someone trying to cut you. So they're all really difficult. And usually what you find is, whatever you see every day in practice, that's usually what you're a little bit better at. That's usually what you're a little bit more comfortable with. And that's one of the reasons why we try to line up and play the way we do, just so we can be a little bit more of an outlier. And, there's not many teams that are lining up in two backs in the conference anymore. Even Connecticut's now, they're mainly, 3 and 4 wides. They've spread it out, so we're really one of the few teams that does it. So we're hoping that sometimes we can be just a little bit different and get, maybe gain an advantage because guys aren't as accustomed to it as they were 10 years ago.
Okay, thanks.
Our next question comes from Dan Tortora with WakeUpCallDD.com.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good. Thoughts on Bob Diaco? Obviously, he's had some struggles this season, win and loss, but, the team has been in a lot of games in certain situations. Just what you can say about the coach on the other side.
I mean, I'm not arrogant enough to talk about somebody else. I mean, I have the utmost respect for Coach, and he's a tremendous football coach and an even better person, and I enjoy every minute I have to spend with him. But, I'm not, I'm just so completely focused on my team and my guys, and I know I'm expecting an absolute war out there on a Friday night because every other time we've played them, it has been a war. And my seniors, their first game ever before Coach was there, their first game against UConn, they were up 21-0 at halftime, and UConn came back and beat us. And so we've had some great battles against each other, but I have tremendous respect for Coach Diaco and his staff and his team and his program.
And with your team as well as his team going with 10 straight weeks without a bye week, just what you can say about going 10 weeks and just what you've taken away from your team and how the team's kind of responded to the fatigue of the season without having a bye week until the week after this coming week.
Yeah, we just choose not to believe in fatigue. We just believe, we just choose to, we don't think there's a fresher team. We just try to be as tough as we can and play through it. The schedule is a schedule, and as coaches, we try to do a good job of making sure we monitor. But we're a throwback football team. We practice hard. We practice physical. We'll be out there in full pads tomorrow. And then when the bye week comes, we'll take a break, maybe more of a break than a lot of people do. But when we go, we go. And this is the way the conference set the schedule up, and we're excited about it. And, we'll take any chance we have to play games.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Our next question comes from Donald Hunt with the Philadelphia Tribune.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Great, Donald. How are you? Happy Halloween.
Oh, happy Halloween as well, man. Listen, just like to get you to comment on Isaiah Wright, who's given you guys a real lift offensively, particularly at the Wildcat position?
It's a great question. I mean, Isaiah's a special young player. I know he's excited to go back to Connecticut, and you know, he's played running back, he's played wide out, he's played that little Wildcat position. You know, he's as mature and smart a football player as I've been around because he is able to do all those different positions and he spends the time on it. I mean, he's really a fun kid to coach, and I think he's going to be, you know, really a special player. You know, as we try to figure out what position he is. That's how good he is. It's not a bad thing; it's a good thing. He can do so many different things. But excited to have him, and we're trying to work him more and more every week. And every time we seem to hand him the ball, something good happens.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Sir.